Alright, let's do this. Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and this ridiculous monster of a TV on my living room wall is the new LG G1 OLED Evo TV. I've got the top-end 77-inch model here, and it's absolutely stunning, as you would hope for the hefty sum of £4,800. So that is an awful lot of money, but when you consider that last year's equivalent G10 cost £6,000, in a world of phones, laptops, graphics cards getting more and more expensive, the fact that this is 20% cheaper and also better than last year's model, you can't really argue with that. And that's before any discounts or sales coming later in the year. And in fact, all three 55, 65, and 77-inch models are significantly cheaper than before. However, you are still paying a premium for the G series, aka the gallery design, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Oh, and by the way, if you guys do enjoy the video, then a cheeky like and subscribe would be amazing. Cheers. So what makes the G series and this G1 special? Well, firstly, it has this nifty super low profile wall mounting bracket. Both the TV and the bracket are exactly the same design as last year's G10, but it means the TV can sit flush against the wall. And it is all thanks to this guy. Now, you don't actually get any feet included, although there are some optional extras, although they sit right at the edge of the screen. So if you are getting a bigger model, then, well, make sure you've got a big TV stand as well. But the gallery really is designed to be wall mounted. Although I have to say that routing the cables and then hiding them can be a little bit finicky. I still wish LG would offer a separate I/O box. But once you're all set, it looks incredible, and there's just no wasted space. I am actually moving house in a few weeks, but at the moment my living room space is pretty small. What I like about this is that if I had a regular 77-inch TV on my TV stand, because it would be a couple of feet forward, it would look even, well, more excessive for the size room I'm in. But because this is wall mounted and just a little bit further back from where I sit, which is actually right here, I can just about get away with having the bigger screen size. Although as you can see, I do still have this TV stand and a soundbar, because while the TV's built-in speakers are pretty good, they do lack in bass, so I would recommend pairing this with a good soundbar or speaker system, especially as the HDMI ports support the higher quality eARC standard as well as Dolby Atmos. But now there's another big reason why you may want to spend the extra cash on a G or even a Z series, is these two are the only models to feature LG's next generation OLED Evo technology. And this combines the evolution of the panel and also the new processor to give us a brighter and higher quality picture. Now what's interesting is that I actually only measured about a 10% higher peak brightness over last year's G10, but across the full screen I measured up to 20% higher brightness, which does make a difference. So I think LG's marketing is actually pretty bang on by calling this the OLED Evo. It's an evolution rather than a revolution. And really, it's the cherry on top of a TV that delivers a stunning picture, with the same inky colors and impressive viewing angles as you would expect from a self-lit OLED, where each pixel can turn itself on and off. Oh, and actually, if you haven't watched it yet, definitely check out Above All Mankind on Apple TV. I've just finished season 2, and that whole show feels like it was made for OLED. So it's cheaper, it's brighter, and we're also getting a new processor with this. It's the, let me get this right, the Alpha 9 Gen 4 AI processor 4K. Catchy. Now it's always a little bit tricky to show this stuff off, as it's partly just about the TV detecting what you're watching and then automatically choosing the right picture and sound modes, and it's also partly about AI upscaling, using LG's deep learning tech to identify faces and now objects and environments to enhance the picture and prioritize what we're focusing on. So that's all well and good, but aside from maybe when this automatically switches to filmmaker mode or game optimizer, it's hard to really tangibly see the difference with these AI upscaling features. You kind of just have to trust it's working behind the scenes and giving you the best optimized image for what you're watching. Although, side note, the AI improvements don't apply to certain copyrighted content or with, say, games consoles or PCs. However, even if the effect is only subtle, I do still leave the AI modes turned on and then just forget about it, and that's kind of the point. The only options you really need to think about are the picture modes, and I would recommend using the ISF Expert Bright or Dark modes most of the time. Although by default I do find them a little bit too warm, so I adjust it to a more neutral color temperature. But I do also have Auto Filmmaker mode enabled, so when I watch movies, it switches to this, which is ideal for, movie purists in terms of color accuracy, and also turning off all the background processing. The most obvious change this year, though, is this. It's the whole new full screen dashboard. We're running on WebOS 6, which replaces the, pretty familiar pop-up dashboard that we were used to, and now we get this full screen homepage. And the idea is the more you use it, the more curated and relevant the recommended content will be. Essentially, it'll figure out what you like to watch, so it's more about the TV finding the content for you rather than you having to navigate all the apps and find it yourself. But I have to be honest, I don't know if I love this new full screen dashboard. Firstly, because as you can see, I appreciate it's a bit out of focus, but it takes a few seconds to populate everything because there's so much content on screen. I also preferred the pop-up dashboard from before, as it meant you could still watch what was playing in the background. And also, I just don't know why the top third of the screen needs to be dedicated to the weather and some hints and tips for using the TV. I mean, it's not bad, I just liked how it was before, although I might get used to it, and also, as I do use it for longer, hopefully these suggestions will become more personalized to me. I just kind of wish maybe there was an option to have either the full screen mode or just that sort of lower third or lower quarter pop-up dashboard that we're used to. Oh, and also I have found adverts to be a little bit more pervasive now, but if you jump into the settings menu, you can turn off tracking and promotional ads for the home screen, so it's a relatively easy fix. But it's not just about this home screen, because WebOS 6 also streamlines the menus. We still have the same quick settings bar where you can jump between picture and sound modes, but then we also have this new look full settings menu, which feels a lot more streamlined and easy to navigate. All the important options and modes are front and center, but you can still go deep and fiddle around. But as you can see, we've also got this new gray theme to the UI, including the magic pointer. Speaking of which, we also have this all-new Magic Remote, and actually this is the first big redesign of this in quite a few years actually. Here is the previous one, which you may be familiar with, if I can bring it to the camera. I actually really like it. It does feel similar in the hand, but this deeper groove underneath for your finger is more comfortable, and there's just lots of little refinements that make it look and feel better to use. We do still have this dedicated mic button, but unique to the G series is the fact that we have far-field microphones built in, so what we can do is go, "Hey LG, switch to PS5. Did you hear the beep? And there we have it, PS5 is ready to go, which very neatly brings me into the next question of, is this a good gaming TV? Well, this won't take long, because as we've come to expect from LG, the gaming credentials for this are top-notch. This is genuinely one of the very best gaming TVs you can buy. 4K, 120Hz, variable refresh rates, auto low latency modes, G-Sync, FreeSync Premium, fast response times, and with 4 full-fat HDMI 2.1 ports around the back, this is perfect for your Series X or your PS5, or even your gaming PC, particularly if you have one of the latest RTX 3000 series cards with a 2.1 port. One of the coolest features though is this game optimizer menu, which shows you whether the game is using G-Sync or FreeSync or the variable refresh, and you can even adjust the picture modes to suit different games. So FPS, for example, brightens the shadows and makes it a little bit easier to see your enemies. I mean, I'll take any help I can get. So altogether, the G1 is an incredible TV as you would expect, although I would say it's more of a modest upgrade coming from last year's G10, but at the same time it's also significantly cheaper. As I mentioned at the beginning, better and cheaper is like the best combination. So that flush wall mounting gallery design, the higher brightness, and all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a flagship TV, for both, well, watching TV and just as importantly to me, gaming. My only two wishes would be having maybe a separate I/O box. It would just make the cabling and hiding it all a little bit easier, and also perhaps that option to have either the full screen or just the lower third dashboard. But aside from that, I'm loving every minute with the G1, and if you do want to check this out for yourself, I will leave a link in the description below. But what about you? What TV are you using at the moment? And also, if you are thinking maybe about upgrading this year, what model would you go for? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you've got any questions at all about the G1 or LG's OLED range, again, let me know in the comments. I read every single one and I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Tap that subscribe button and ding that bell to be the first to see my new videos. And I'll see you guys next time right here on the Tech Chat.